I feel in the face of all the problems in the world impotent, and why I somehow cannot manage to transform I. Now here we get to the real problem, because we're always telling each other that we should be different. Now I'm not going to tell you that tonight. Why not? Because I know you can't. Nor can I. That may sound depressing, but I'll tell you it isn't. It's very hard. But everybody, you see, who is at all sensitive and awake to their own problems and human problems is trying to change himself. We know we can't change the world unless we change ourselves. So when we are aware of the ego I, we are aware of this chronic tension inside ourselves. And that's not us. It's a futile tension. So when we get the illusion, the image of ourselves, married to a futile tension, you've got an illusion married to a futility. And then you wonder why I can't do anything.
Good morning, every day. Good morning, every day. Not what I wanted to say. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Today, maybe? That'll work. So, we do have an uptrend on Bitcoin now, which is absolutely fine. We should actually define the pivots for this trend and why I am a little slightly tentative. Sure, we technically have true net expansion on these lower periods, but we have to consider the relative volatility overhead for how this is going to play out, right? Because this bad boy right here is most viably going to cause the smackdown. Just actually defining where that pivot's going to be, well, actually we can do that. I was going to say it's going to be difficult, but we can just take the period and plug it in and see what happens. So I am a little concerned on Bitcoin because I'm not sure we're actually going to cause any expansion up above where we currently are right now. It is really tempting to call this a breakout, right? It's quite clearly trending up. We're getting some positive volume maybe. Let's find out. Yeah, a little nick of positive volume there. That's clean. But the question is, can we re-expand these already overexpanded periods? What are the chances we can actually pull that off? Well, not we, per se, but those who are driving the market. Right? Because currently our longer term target is over here on the weekly for that bright and happy weekly 50 moving average. And really, it's probably ideal to start layering in your shorts up to that weekly 50 moving average, because the potential of it rejecting exactly from that pivot is just too high to ignore. So we are going to run up and test exactly the weekly 50, just like so, before our slow trickle, our creek by all you Wyckoff fans, as we come down for our final tests, potentially a spring, and then initial test, and this is going to be where you actually break up above the weekly 50 moving average, right? This is where all the positive volume is going to start coming in when we actually break above the weekly 50, and then we're going to have one last test at the downside, and then it's free willy off to the races. So with this in mind, we got to be careful. The question is how careful, right? Because if we actually compare this crash pattern, we can have quite a bit of success. Because it's typically the break above the weekly 50 that actually signals that the crash pattern is over. So let's drag ourselves back to this bad boy over here. Actually, why did I do this? We can just switch it to a logarithmic chart and zoom out. Woohoo! Isn't that goofy looking? Yeah, that's what you get for having negative values in the extreme sphere Bollinger Bands. So we gotta super zoom our way into this. Nice. Okay. There's no reason not to assume it's going to play out pretty much the same way. If it doesn't, cool. We'll stop out of our positions and try again later. Okay. So, what we're looking at here is the re-entry of the weekly 200 band. We run down, we retest exactly the weekly 200 moving average. We have an initial low volume rally, followed by a secondary retest of the weekly 200 moving average. We have a low rally before a secondary retest of the weekly 200 moving average. From this location, we have a slow trickle of sideways price action before a run-up for a quick retest, or rather, this is the first test, for a quick test of the weekly 200 moving average. Then over here, we have a slow trickle before a sudden test of the weekly 200 moving average. This is followed by what some would call a tweezer top, followed by a quick rejection. And then actually there is another smaller retest of the weekly 200. So really, if we want to get technical about how this is going to play out this week, we can just draw it out. We're going to run up, test, and then have a big red candle following it. We're going to go sideways, and then we're going to attempt to cross up above the weekly 50 again. So after this rejection, we're going to go sideways, and then Bitcoin's just want to go sideways here. That's all it's going to want to do. Nobody's going to want to sell here because they're super bullish, but nobody wants to buy above the weekly 50. Why? Well, because we need that squeeze to happen, right? We need to squeeze. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Come back here, boy. I'm so used to automatically snapping it to shape. Okay. So, here, we need to be squished between the weekly 200, that was terrible, the weekly 200, and the weekly 50. Okay? And we can actually look at this on the daily and simply bump up our values, right? Because all we need to know is 200 times 7 is 1400, and then 50 times 7 is 350. So nice. So this is actually going to be our weekly 50 and 200 bands put on the daily chart, right? So let's zoom super far in just so we can see how we're reacting on these just a little bit closer. I love how droopy these charts look on the logarithmic. It's so goofy. Anyway. Just the way this squeezes down is so nice. Where we have retest, 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 rejection, rejection, retest, spring, where we actually briefly dip below the weekly 200 before bull run. So, remind me not to snap. There we go. Retest, 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 run up for the weekly 200 moving average, trickle down, retest the weekly, rejection to the weekly 200 moving average, and then we're actually going to have a spring beneath it so it could hunt out all that liquidity for everyone who's just taking longs directly on top of here before up. And then we have the break up above the weekly 50 here. If you want to be as safe as possible, your two options are this. Set buy orders just below the weekly 200 and then market buy as soon as we go above the weekly 50. Those are your best bets for getting long-term into Bitcoin. And I'm talking long-term future contract, right? Where you want to be on leverage, you want to have a long-term expiration so you can just sit in this and be nice and comfy. Okay, this should play out to the letter. I am pretty confident on that. So really, I did some tethering around here, and now I'm going to tether out the rest up here, and then it's going to be a really long and boring wait as I wait for retest the weekly 200. Why? Well, because imagine being up 37% in Satoshi value. I'm pretty sure I can't outperform that by trading altcoins in a downtrend. So really, it's going to be a quiet week, or a quiet month, as soon as we touch that weekly 50, because I'll be exiting a lot of positions. And then we just need to be patient. It's going to be a long, slow trickle down to the values we need. And really, this downward trickle here is really going to be the last leg of the bear market, I say. It's going to require a lot of patience. And you're going to want to trade a lot of coins. And if you want to accumulate, just do so lower, right? You're rarely going to hear me use the word accumulate, except here. This is where you want to accumulate, because it's so probable, it's so clean, and goodness, we're just mirroring out the previous crash pattern to the letter. And there's really no reason not to attempt this trade. And I actually want to check something, just how far we actually dipped down. That's a 13% wick, guys. I'd be careful down here. So obviously don't use more than 10x, right? I'm talking like 3 to 5x, where you need like a 20% drop to get liquidated. And even then, please only use a portion of your portfolio. Like, don't gamble, guys. It's a bad idea. But yeah, if you ride the bull run on 3x, and your futures contract will probably expire after 2 years, but 7,000 times 3, yeah, that's a pretty good gain if you ask me. Although, admittedly, I don't think the next bull run will be as high, right? But it's very promising. I am looking forward to the way this plays out, okay? That's all I have to say for today to you trading view. Actually, no, I have one more thing to say. I want to look at the 1 hour chart. Let's take us off logarithmic, because goddamn, Switch this back to regular values. 50 and 200. And I don't need you. Shoo. Okay. Yeah, because we still have to look at the volatility over because I don't know how this plays out. Still pretty goofy, guys. Alright, the smackdown in the 50. We already talked about this. And it's kind of weird because the 50 is already... It's implied that the 50 is re-expanding, and it's gonna be difficult for it to do so. So, I don't think we're breaking out here unless we get a lot more volume, which could happen, which is why I'm not gonna bet against it. I'm not gonna short here. I'm just not gonna long here either. I'm waiting too short, really. So we see, this is the weird part, where we have the 50 period coming down like this. We're saying that it's just going to immediately start going back up, right? That's what upward trend would mean here. And really, we'll probably see a little bit more sideways, if I'm being honest. But again, I wouldn't bet on it, and there's really no way I want to bet on it, because scalping a tight range with an anticipated breakout, it's not a very good way to make money. There's a lot of risk to that, and it's not responsible. Okay. Thank you, TradingView folks. I'll see y'all later. Have a beautiful day. Nice. Let's go through the YouTube comments. It's raining today, so I can't go out. Well, it's trending. Why did I save my chart template on the daily for ES? I don't get it. Okay. Let me just make sure these are the right settings. They are. Okay. YouTube comments. Yeah, I haven't had my camera on these last few days because I had all 14 of my dress shirts at the dry cleaners. So I didn't really want to, you know, wear the one that didn't fit me or the scruffy ones. So yeah, I'll probably be doing the camera on more often, and I hate fixing my hair, and I like this hat, so this is what you're getting. If anyone wants to, I could make an Amazon wish list and put a bow tie on it. If anyone wants to buy me a bow tie, I will wear it. I am willing to wear a bow tie, but only if you pay for it. Okay, that's the deal I make for you. Sean Trotter asks, how was that bike ride? I actually hit my knee on the way up, and it's like within the first 15 minutes, it was actually like the worst pain I've been in like all year. I nailed it directly on the metal bar because I suddenly jerked the handles to the right, and I lost my balance. And I just imagine like doing a full force knee as if you're like kneeing someone in the chest, but on a metal pole. That's essentially what I did. Because it was like a 45-degree angle up the hill, and I hit a rock, and I tried to keep my balance. And, you know, since you're applying so much force trying to ride up a hill, I just nailed my knee into the middle. It was awful. So pretty much I just coasted down the mountain. Thank God I didn't have to go back up any, because I could barely pedal. It was not pleasant. Oh shit, is Strat already breaking out? Don't you dare. Okay, it's down, thank God. Yeah, I'm actually looking for entry into this. Okay, this is why I waited to call it, because it was still the swing high. But on the daily, we're getting a really powerful wave PM cross. So, yeah, this guy, you know, last time we saw this, it was on VIB, and VIB rose 150% after that signal. Like we called VIB and Blaze. Let's pull it up, because why not? My trade history. It's nice out. It's actually awful out. It's like half snowing. Oh, and I actually updated my spreadsheet. If you took every call verbatim, as I did, you would be up 20x this year. Very good. We want to look at Vib, this bad boy right here, and Blaze. Those were the two most profitable calls this year so far. And, you know, I actually only put Blaze's upward percentage at 33% because that's my final take profit on it, and it actually went much higher. So, you know, if I just wanted to like make myself look good, I would say it actually went up 87%, but I actually called it at 33, which is actually below the second take profit here. Like, guys, just be aware, I'm actually using lower targets when I'm saying what the actual profit ratio is. Like, if you use trailing stops, you can assume much better profit on this than, you know, I'm displaying in the spreadsheet. And like Vib here, I only listed as a 90% gain, or 89% gain, right? So on Vib, I said 89%, right? Because that's just the second target, even though Vib jumped 150%, right? Because if you used a trailing stop, you could have gotten around 130% out of that, guys. But I'm always using the lower value out of the sake of honesty, because assuming you're going to exit at the high every time, that's not feasible. And I'm all about being as transparent and realistic about my trade calls as possible. So, okay, my point is, do you see this signal that happened here on the Blaze chart? Okay, right? Orange line crossing blue line. Orange line crossing blue line. In each scenario, we ran up over 100%. Almost 100% in Blaze's case. Okay, over here on Strat, well, it's the same signal. 200 period's a little higher, but it's already technically in a state of expansion, which is kind of weird because it hasn't left the 200 period. Wave PM is kind of screwy because it's derivative of a derivative, but there's no reason we can't expect the same breakout to happen. So I'm looking forward to this chart. I'll probably call it. I'm going to be honest. Okay, I actually need to read through all these comments. We have 30 viewers today. It is a pleasure. Our target goal for viewership by the end of the month is 50. So, well, that's why I did the laundry. Also, I want to get this tailored. I want my suits to fit me a bit tighter than they currently do, but I'll probably do it this week. I'll get them tailored. You'll see me in a vest probably this week instead of a suit, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, first I'm going to read all the normal comments, and then I'm going to do coin requests. So if you want any coin requests, now's the time to drop them. Okay, I'm going to hold this up here so you don't get to look at the top of my head. Okay. Everyone thinking it will be like last time, yet they are pushing us into alts and to rocket Bitcoin so fast it will be out of the reach for the average. The big boys who have bought can't have us buying lower. I don't know, man. To say it was going to deviate now is kind of weird. Right, it's played out the previous crash pattern to the letter so far. I don't know why it would go different after like 14 months of playing it to the number. What does crossing upwards on the weekly 200 over the weekly 50 signify? I've seen that now a few times on coins that had a lovely breakout just after, even sometimes even a little bit before. It's an institutional benchmark typically used to measure performance. Very rarely I'm going to tell you to take someone's word for something, and that's exactly what using an institutional benchmark is doing. You are using a benchmark that is used to measure performance by smart money. It's typically something as a macro level indication of whether or not something is performing well. So, do you remember the death cross? But really, you only want to use the weekly, or you only want to use the 50 and 200 as benchmarks on the daily and above. Anywhere below that is you're going to get in choppy territory, and it's true for a lot of retail indicators. Candlestick patterns are going to work great on the daily and weekly. Anywhere below is going to be awful. Right? It's when you start getting into the herd-induced intraday volatility that you're going to start suffering because of those predictions. But up here, you know, on the daily and weekly, those are going to do really well for you. Of course, you only want to use this for macro level performance, not actual entry signals. Okay. See what else we got here. Sean Trotter says, hey, you still a 3 commas fan? Yeah. It's because I'm a fire and forget trader. I place the trades and I leave them and I don't come back to them. Right? I'll set up like 12 trades at a time and I'll just let them play out. Right? Because that completely takes your emotions out of it. I look at a chart, I find something favorable, and I'll set the win conditions, I'll set the lose conditions, and then I just won't look at it. And then when the liquidity ends up back in my account, cool, I'll enter another trade. But I'm totally against micromanaging, personally. I could probably profit more if I just micromanaged on the 15-minute chart every day, but effort required, I prefer this. Oh. A Cat with Chart says, mean reversion from November is complete and the containment zone on that period goes to 7K, starting at record CME volume and lots of room in the daily chart to continue the upward Bitcoin chart. Yes, I will stop out if I go above the weekly 50, definitely. But higher highs, I don't think that's in the cards yet. Sean Trotter says, in relation to what I said about the calls, that's great, brother. Every guru pump group and their mothers exaggerate and call they caught the top target. No. Like, ask any of the veterans. I've never deleted a call. Everything is as it should be. Like, my win rate's less than 50%. I'm just going to say that, but my profit ratio is over 5 to 1. So, just got to sit back and enjoy. And I've actually been calling less coins as of the new year. It's because I only choose the ones I really like. All right, little loss, big win. It's the way I trade. Sean Trotter says, stock market measures always by 200 MA or 50 MA, but realistically none of that matters and orders go down way before in the dark pools where volume is blind to us by the time we see too late. Sure, absolutely. Okay, time to do coins. It's really hot. I'm going to open a window. Ah! Rain stopped for now. Sorry it's so noisy, but I'm hot. Okay. Litecoin first. I have 4% on my battery. We're going to do this till it dies. LTC, BTC. Yeah, as predicted, we tagged that 3.2 standard deviation and has seen a rejection. I guess now we just need to find retracement values to enter trend. So let's do it. Okay, actually, I'm going to put a little bit more time into this. And I'm going to pull this mic closer so you guys can hear me a bit better. Okay, so this one was 240. I want to see how it plays out for the 240 band. Okay, so this mean reversion pivot actually failed. It's good to know. Wait, sorry, that's 280. Excuse me. 280 might be better. I was actually just mousing over. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that's still technically a failed mean reversion. So you actually would have stopped out of that short. Actually, I did stop out of that short. I actually tried shorting Litecoin here and I failed. But betting against trend, I don't recommend it. This mean reversion actually completed the 110. Looks like that dropped straight down before continuation. So now we just need to find this retracement value at 140. Okay. Yeah, technically mean reversion is implied, but because the previous one failed, I wouldn't bet against trend. You could try entering along in the 140 mean, but that's the best I can offer at this moment. XZC. I don't really want to play this at all. The trend appears to be broken and we're seeing deep retracement. So, sorry. Not going to touch it. Do XRP though. Don't bet against the downtrend, guys. My God. Like, over this last few months, like, we keep on having these pumps. And you know what pumps are, guys? In a bear market, in a downtrend, they're short entries. Every time we see one of these, it's a short entry. So next time we have a run up, try shorting it. Might work out for you. Right? Eventually the trend will end, but you don't want to bet that a trend is going to end until it's actually over. Okay? Never bet against trend. It's a bad idea. Try ETN BTC. It's a downtrend. That's all I have to say about this. Oh, Huobi coins are now on the base. Cool. Downtrend? I don't have any previous information. I can't analyze this. I'm sorry. Took a look at TRX though. I think TRX had a long-term mean reversion target here. I'll go on the daily just to point it out. Yeah, it did. Cool. So I actually shorted TRX here, and then my futures contract expired over here. So I actually got pretty lucky. Right before that wick happened. That wick would have stopped me out, but my contract closed preemptively. So I'm actually pretty happy about that, because I would have missed out on my profit. I guess, you know, mean reversion targets are targets, but they're not really balanced pivots. So again, I'm gonna have to say this is a downtrend, and you have to respect the downtrend. Okay. So we can go ahead and take a look at EOS. Oh, what did the analysis? Yeah. Okay. Cool. I already have analysis on this. Well, it's trending. Don't want to buy so close to the 3.2 standard deviation, though. You want to retrace, wait for a 14-period CCI roll-up on the daily for best entry into trend. That's how you're going to play EOS, okay? 88 BTC. Uptrend, just waiting for a retrace. No defined retrace value. 14-period CCI roll-up is apparent. But we're now having a compressing 50 distribution, and it is overexpanded. I'm going to stay away from this one. Okay? Probably just going to move sideways for the time being, guys. Sorry. We're going to try a 500 period band. Well, actually, I'm going to guess we're going to do this. And then maybe trend continuation or mean reversion. But this is probably we're going to flag out now, guys. Okay. INS. Range trading. That's all I gotta say. This is a range. It's very volatile. Buy the bottoms, sell the highs. Okay? Use a ranging indicator to do so, and you should be golden. Okay? That's all I have to say. HTBTC. Ooh, do not reload the site. This is undergoing a mean reversion condition. I would stay away. Hey, I bought into the EMC2 pump and dump ages ago. Actually, hold on. I can actually show you what I was screwing with. Okay. I actually traded this guy right here, this pump and dump. It was pretty cozy. This is such a microcap coin, I'm not really sure I can confidently give you an opinion on it right now. Sorry. Okay. I think that's all I have to say today, guys. It has been a pleasure. I will see you all tomorrow at 1 p.m. Be there. Be there. It'll be good for you. See you, folks.